So, I just want to explain something that we're about to do. We're going to sing a Mangala Charan, but I want to explain the meaning behind a Mangala Charan and different things of sometimes when we see the Chandoa Sahib, see a Chaur Sahib, we have Prakash of Shastra say, is it just there because it looks cool? Is it like, or does it mean something? Like, why do we come into Darbar Sahib and Matha take first? Why don't we Matha take after? Like, why don't we halfway through or after we get the bakshish and then things like that? Why do we have a word at the start? These questions that we ask on a daily basis, but these questions, they're going to be answered when we go to the root. And we actually go to where it came to birth, the whole concept. So a Mangala Charan, you might have, I've had this question from a few people. They say, you know, when they take a Hukamnama, why do they keep on singing before that? What's the purpose of that? Or when you do Katha, like, why do you sit there and get all serious for 2 minutes and then start your Katha, right? So that's something called a Mangala Charan. A Mangala Charan is basically you're putting something on top. There are 3 types of Mangala Charans that have been used even before the time of Guru Nanak Dev Ji. There are Vastu Nirdesh Mangal, Namaskar Mangal, and Ashirvad Mangal. 3 types of Mangals. Translate that. Vastu Nirdesh is when you're praising something. You're saying, Vah, the Singh is great. Or Guru Sahib, you're great. Namaskar Mangal is saying, Main tere charna te binai, matha take to you. And Ashirvad Mangal is when I'm asking, please bless me. So 3 types of Mangals. Guru Arjan Dev Ji, they write these 2 lines which we sing all the time because they contain all 3 types of these Mangals. That is Dandot Bandhan Anikbar, I bow down to you again and again. Namaskar, I sacrifice myself for you. Dandot Bandhan Anikbar, to who? Sarva Kala Samarat, that you are the greatest. That's Vastu Nirdesh. Then I ask for something. I say, Dolan te rakho Prabhu Nanak de kar hath. Bless me so I don't fall. I stay firm. So I'm asking for a blessing. I'm praising and I'm bowing down. All 3 in one. So just to explain that these things are coming from something before I start speaking or anybody starts speaking, before a hukamnama is taken, it's an ardas that's done. So Maharaj, you speak after, let us do an ardas first. When I do katha, yeah, I can speak, but let's keep in mind that there's something on top of me where I'm getting everything from. That is my Guru. Before we read Japji Sahib, there's a Mangala Charan. That's the Mool Mantar. Before we start Jap Sahib, Ek Onkar Siri Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. That's the Mangala Charan. Right? So any Rabbani that you see, it'll say like Ram Kali Mahla Tija Anand Ek Onkar Sadguru Prasad. That is the Mangala Charan right there. Before, and then Anand Paya Meri Mai. The Bani starts after. Mangala Charan is always put first. In the same way, when you go to the root cause of something and where our history comes from, why do we hear Sakhiya? We all love to hear history. We all love Sakhiya. Or do we just wait for an Instagram post to hear a Sakhi? Or do we know where it comes from? Can somebody just come and say, this never happened, this is like this? But if we don't know where it's coming from, then we might just end up believing in something. Therefore, when we go and actually research into the depths of this presentation that I'm about to do, it will be a little bit dry, right? But try to keep, why? Because I'm trying to go into history and basically present to you a research project. We don't have time to go through into the depth of each Granth. Why? Because it's going to take a lot of time. Each one Granth was, to read the Granth, it takes sometimes to study, it takes years, some of the Granths. And to actually read them, sometimes takes a long time as well. And to just speak about them, sometimes at least minimum a few hours. But here in just a few minutes, we're just going to be touching each Granth, just so you know that these Granths exist. So you can have a structure of where your history is coming from. Just like this Mangala Charans, why are we saying them? History, where is it coming from? Why are we saying it? What is the purpose of it? What value does it hold in our lives, right? So before we begin this topic, before we begin this discussion, I just want to sing a Mangala Charan that you might see me or others sings reading. I've always been taught this from my ustads that before anything, always sing a Mangala Charan. When we eat Prashadda, we read Gurbani, these 2 lines before we eat. That's a Mangala Charan, saying that this is my ardas before I start eating. It's a Mangal. So I'm just going to sing a mangal now. Let's all focus our hands and feet, hands and our minds together. Sing along if you, because these are similar, these are shabads that we all know. Satnam Sri Vaheguru Sahib Ji Farida Kale Mende Kapade Kala Menda Ves Gunhi Parya Main Firan Lok Kahen Darves Tum Dariyao Dana Bina मैं मछली कैसे अंत लहां जह जह देखा तह तह तू है तुझ ते निकसी फूट मरा हम अवगुण परे एक गुण नाही अमृत छाड़ बिखै बिख खाई माया मोह परम पै पूले सुत दारा स्यों प्रीत लगाई एक उत्तम पंथ सुनियो गुर संगत तह मिलंत जम त्रास मिटाई एक अरदास पाठ की रत की गुर रामदास राखो सरनाई डंडौत बंधन अनक बार सर्ब कला समरथ डोलन ते राखो प्रभु नानक दे कर हाथ डोलन ते राखो प्रभु नानक दे कर हाथ गज वज की फतेह बुलाओ जी वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह. So when we speak about the greatness of our history, first question that comes into our mind, first let's just look at the few Granths that we'll be touching upon today. I don't want to say discussing, we're just touching upon. These are just some of the Granths where our history comes from before the English came into India. At the very top, Janam Sakhiyan, we're going to go reach all the way back to the root of our first historical Granth, which is by Balaji's Janam Sakhi. By Balaji, by Mardana ji, who used to do Sangat of Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Pacha. We'll be speaking about that. But first, let's touch upon why is history even important? Ki lodya? What's the purpose? My question to you is, can you guys answer this question? How do you know Guru Granth Sahib Ji is your Guru? Because your dad told you? Why? Why do you come and believe that you are a Sikh and you bow down to Guru Granth Sahib Ji and say Sache Pacha and Ardas all the time? How can you prove to me that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the Guru of the Sikhs? Yeah, but I can write a book and say this is the Guru as well. But how can you prove that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the Guru without using Guru Granth Sahib Ji? Or prove it in Guru Granth Sahib Ji. It doesn't say Guru Granth Sahib Ji is the Guru. It says Bani, Guru, Guru hai. Bani could mean anything. So people can throw this stuff at you. Right? This is what people do now. They just play on words and be like, prove it. It's all just like, it's just debating skills. But my question to you in that same way is, how do you know Guru Granth Sahib Ji is your Guru? Hanji? But where is that written? It's not written in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, it's written in your history. So if you remove history, then you don't know Guru Granth Sahib Ji is your Guru. Because only in history does it say that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is your Guru. Only the Sakhi comes when Guru Gobind Singh Ji, they set up a tambu in Nandir di Tarti and they put Ad Granth and they called the Sangat and they said, now the Jyot resides inside of Shri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Sache Pacha. That comes from history. You hear these Sakhiyan. The only reason you know about your Char Sahibzade is because of history. The only reason why you know of Guru Har Krishna Sahib Maharaj and Guru Har Rai Sahib Maharaj is because of history. If you remove history, all of history, you say, I don't believe in history, stories and stuff like that, then you've cut away half your Sikhi. It's like this example. Don't take this the wrong way, but just in a way to describe something. How do you know who your father is? Because your mom told you, this is your dad. Your mom doesn't need to prove it to you. Right? She doesn't need, there's no way. You don't ask mom, prove it to me that this is my dad. You did never say that. No, because your mom told you and that's it. Your mother's word is everything. History has told you, history has described to you those great saints, those great beings in our history, or historians or vidvans. They've explained to you that through history, this is how we ended up, why this is all set up today. When you connect back to the roots, that's when you'll understand. And if you don't connect back to the roots of why we were aware, Dastar, Siri Sahib ka to, Amrit ka to, Shakana, Idna ka to, Bani ka to, Parniya, why do we wake up in the morning? What's the point of Amrit? When you start questioning all the fundamental things, then you're basically pulling yourself away from your roots, pulling yourself away from history, which eventually will pull you away from Guru Sahib as well. History is there so you can fall in love with Guru Sahib. When you can hear I've seen 5-year-old kids. They come home from the Gurdwara with their dad, and the dad is like, "Putt hun kare aa gaya, take off your chola, take off your dastar, because we're home now. Relax, get some air to your head." But obviously, the dad doesn't mean it in a way that remove your hair forever, take off your dastar. He doesn't mean it that way. But the child's way of just taking it, obviously, he's innocent. Doesn't mean it in that way. He stands up, he's like, "Kade nahi larna, cheer do mainu." Right? He'll stand like this. He's like, "Bhai Mati Das, you take me away." Right? Why? Because that Sakhi has instilled inside of him. You explain a philosophy to him, and he'll be like, he won't get it. He won't be able to sit down. But that little Sakhi, that story in itself, builds so much drta that he's going to grow up knowing that somebody loves this Guru that much, therefore I should love my Guru. This is the value. It gives value to your Guru. When this many shaheeds have sacrificed themselves, when all of this stuff has happened, for that Guru Sahib to be there and you to be sitting in their darbar and listening to their sakhiyan, listening to their hukumname, that is what teaches your mind value. Or else your mind won't, because our mind just compares things. Without comparison, you won't understand. Sakhi, history, is there to teach you what the value of Guru Sahib is, the value of Gurbani. And if we just look inside of Gurbani, at the end of every Shabad, it just comes Jan Nanak. It'll say Mahalla Tija, Mahalla Chautha, but it'll only say Nanak at the end. There's only one place where all 5 Guru Sahibs are mentioned. That's Satta and Balavand ki Var, Ramkali ki Var. Right? Lerna Nanak tu lerna tu hai, Gur Amar tu vicharya, Gur Rittha ta man sadarya. Right? These, that's all from Ramkali ki Var, where it actually mentions them. But it doesn't mention Guru Har Gobind Maharaj. It doesn't mention Satme, Atme, Naume, Dasme Pacha. So you could say, I believe in Gurbani and it says the Guru's name's there. But then if you cut out history, you cut out anything outside of Guru Granth Sahib Ji, then basically there's no way to prove that Guru Har Gobind Maharaj existed. Guru Nanak, Guru Har Rai Sahib Ji existed. Why? Because they're not mentioning Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Adi Granth was compiled before. Naume Pacha comes, but Guru Tegh Bahadur's name's not in there. It just says Mahalla Nama, right? So therefore, these Granths on the side help you understand where Guru Granth Sahib Ji stands. We're going to be discussing all of these Granths, where they come from, how they all came to be. Now, let's say there in your mind you have a doubt about something in history, like, I don't think this could be like this. If there's something, you just see, go ask the elders. If there's milk inside of somebody's house and a makhi comes and lands in it, they're not going to be like, "Oh, do this, do." They won't be. Maybe nowadays here, I don't want to drink the milk. But there they would only get a little bit of milk for like the few days. So that little milk is what they had, everything. Cha vi, paneer vi, dahin vi, everything out of that milk. Bachchiyan vaste vi, everything. So they're not going to throw that milk away. They'll just take out the makhi. They'll take out the fly. If it's water, then they'll throw out the water because you can just turn on the tap and get water, or do the nalka and get some more water. Something that's valuable, you don't throw it all away. If in your, this is not for the everybody else, this is for your own mind. Something in history doesn't make sense to you. Instead of saying, I don't believe in any of it, and throw it all away, why don't you just take the makkiya and then drink the actual tat, drink the milk. And maybe during that time it doesn't make sense to you, because that's your own mind. Maybe in the future it doesn't make sense to you. But why condemn everything? Because to somebody else it has made sense. And it has helped them connect to Guru Sahib. So why would you throw it all away? Sun Sakhi man jap pyar, ye Gurbani di pangti hai. Listening to the Sikhya, the Sakhiyan of Guru Sahib, Babaniya, Kahaniya, Put Saput Karen, it helps you fall in love. There's no way without history you would know how much love Guru Angad Dev Ji had for Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Why were they chosen to be Guru Sahib over everybody else? Oh, Lerna to Angad ke mein ban gaye. It says in Gurbani, Lerna tu Nanak tu Lerna tu hai, right? But what is the Sakhi? What is those? What is their daily thing? How did they do seva? Where did they come from? All of this kind of stuff comes from history. Why? Because it makes it real to you. Sikhi or history is practical living Sikhi. We are physical. So sometimes you hear this, they say it's all internal, nothing external. It's all about the internal. But I want to ask you this. I want you to go to the army and say, and when they tell you to wear camouflage, be like, can't wear camouflage, I have camouflage on the inside. And they'll be like, why are you coming to the army? That was the point. Because we deal with things physical. So when it comes to things that we don't want, we say, no, not physical, it's all about the inside. But then everything else we do is all outside. To prove to people, to talk to people, to do everything. Like we watch TV external, but if it's just internal, to chup karke baith ja fir. But yet we do everything external. And yet then we say, when it comes to our Guru, we say, no, we don't want to do this for the Guru, we only want to go internal. Because we are external, it's going to start from the outside. So we need a practical lesson. We need something. Because we from the inside, we don't understand what that love for Guru Sahib is until we get a physical example of how Bhai Mani Singh Ji became Shaheed. How Guru Tegh Bahadur Sache Pacha, they stood up for the rights of the others and they put themselves on Shaheedi. All of that comes from our history. It teaches us lessons. Then when we take that, we understand that love, then we go to Gurbani, he helps us hold up that value, helps us understand what Gurbani is saying. What avastha is it coming from? So it helps us teach us that. I'm just going through Tukumatar everything. Tukumatar meaning only briefly. So going into the very first text. If any of you guys have questions, make sure, just feel free to ask. We're just sitting here informally, Hannah. But keep in mind, I'm not going to be going into the depth of each one, just touching on it, because we don't have that much time. There's a lot of Granths. But at the end of this, at least you'll have some sort of structure in your mind. If not anything, at least you'll know that these Granths exist. Right? So you won't be sitting there one day and be like, I want to hear a Sakhi, but nobody made an Instagram post today. Right? So you won't be waiting for it. You can actually go and read history for yourself. You can go study it. You can know where it comes from. Janam Sakhiyan. There are 4 Janam Sakhiyan. First is by Ballaji's Janam Sakhi. Bhai Ballaji is that Gursikh that travelled with Bhai Mardanand and Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sache Pacha. And when Bhai Ballaji left the Sangat of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, that's when Bhai Lerna Ji came. Bhai Lerna Ji came into the Sangat of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, did their seva and became Guru Angad Dev Ji. After, when Bhai Ballaji is coming back to Guru Nanak Dev Ji, then they find out that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is not the Guru anymore, Guru Angad Dev Ji is. They said, let me go meet the next Guru. When they go, Guru Angad Dev Ji, this is how Surya Prakash, Nanak Prakash starts. Right, that's a different Granth we'll talk about. Our historical Granth by Kavi Santokh Singh, but this is how it starts. It explains how Bhai Ballaji's Janam Sakhi came to be. Bhai Ballaji came to Guru Angad Dev Ji, and Guru Angad Dev Ji asked them, who are you? They said, I'm Bhai Ballaji. They said, who's your Guru? They said, Guru Nanak Dev Ji is my Guru. And Bhai Guru Angad Dev Ji is like, that's my Guru as well. They said, tell me, how do you know Guru Nanak Dev Ji? They said, we traveled, we did all of this kind of stuff together. And they said, I knew them before they knew you. And then Guru Angad Dev Ji said, why don't let's sit down together, tell me everything about what Guru Nanak Dev Ji did before I met Guru Nanak Dev Ji. Because they only, by Guru Angad Dev Ji or by Lerna Ji only came into the Guru Nanak Dev Ji's physical life near the end. But who was with them since before then? It was Bhai Balaji, Bhai Mardana. So Bhai Balaji is sitting there and they're explaining all the history of Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Angad Dev Ji. Guru Angad Dev Ji is in Anand listening to all of this. And while they're saying all of this is being recorded. That is Bhai Balaji's Janam Sakhi. The very first original text of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's history. A lot of history is based off of this one, of this text. They'll take Bhai Balaji's Janam Sakhi and they'll write other Granths and they'll expand upon it and they'll do other research, but based on this. Hanji.
Who's recording this?
At the Gursikhs at the time of Bhai Balaji.
Orally recording or writing?
No, it was written down. Yeah. So Bhai Balaji orally said it. When I say Janam Sakhi is the name of a text. Yeah. Right? So then there's Pratan Janam Sakhi, Meherban Janam Sakhi, by Mani Singh's Janam Sakhi. Mainly, the two that are discussed in today's world are only by Balaji's Janam Sakhi and by Mani Singh's Janam Sakhi. By Mani Singh's Janam Sakhi is the Janam Sakhi that they took from Bhai Gurdas Ji's Vara and they expanded upon that, and then they wrote of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's life as well in there. So by Mani Singh Sheet, by Mani Singh Ji. So I'm just touching upon those Janam Sakhiyan. Then we go to Bhai Gurdas Ji Vara. Bhai Gurdas Ji, who were they? They were the Mama Ji of Guru Arjan Dev Ji, the fifth Guru. Mama Ji lagde sige. Now the question is, why is Bhai Gurdas Ji Vara not in Barni? Because if they're that held high and we can sing Kirtan of it, all the shabas that we sing, Guru Mukh Pant Suhavada, Tan Guru Pyare, that's Bhai Gurdas Ji Vara. Biti Ton the Jagat Chanan Hoya Sat Guru Nanak Pargatya, that's Bhai Gurdas Ji Vara. So Bhai Gurdas Ji was the Mama Ji, and when Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha, they announced that bring all of the great text of saints, Mahapurukhs, Bhagats, bring it all together because we're compiling this great Granth. And when we compile it, it's going to be such a great text that everybody's going to be learning from it. And Baba Buddha Ji and Bhai Gurdas Ji were the ones that used to write it down. Guru Angad Dev Ji would bring it, collect it, and they would recite it. And Baba Buddha Ji and Bhai Gurdas Ji would be the ones that were scripting it all. One of these days, Bhai Gurdas Ji had a thought that, look, I have writings as well. I'm a writer as well. Why don't I present my writings to Guru Arjan Dev Ji so he gives me a chance that I can include my own Bani? This thought came into his mind. He asked. Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, tomorrow, we usually meet at this time to write Bani. Why don't you come about 10 minutes earlier? And then we can talk about it then, tomorrow. The next day, Bhai Gurdas Ji is happy. He's bringing his texts, he's bringing his writings, and he comes to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, goes into the room, and what he sees is Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha sitting. He's in Samadhi, and there's Bhagat Kabir Ji, Bhagat Farid Ji, Bhagat Tanna Ji, Bhagat Namdev Ji, all these Bhagats standing around him. Obviously these Bhagats, Baba Farid Ji, they happened hundreds of years before. But their Jyot, the light of Akal Purkh is standing right in front of them, and Akal Purkh's Jyot, Bhagatan di Jyot, is giving the Bani to Guru Arjan Dev Ji, who is Akal Purkh. So it's just a play of the Akal Purkh. It's just a play of God. Everything is God. The Bani, Guru Arjan Dev Ji is not calling out so people can give them their Bani. It's the Bani of Akal Purkh that's being written, and it's coming from Akal Purkh. And when they saw that this Bani is all a Turki Bani, then they thought that how could I have thought of that? That my Bani is worthy of going into this Granth. Then when Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha saw their Bhavna and saw them, they said that you don't need to worry because your Bani is going to be the key to unlocking this Guru Bani. They call them the Guru Bani di Kunji. You're the key. So Bhai Gurdas Ji Vara is like Katha. Ode sabandh vich jiriyan aapa jehde shabad aapa padde ha. So in Bani, 2 or 3 times the word Ambrik comes. But there's no Sakhi, there's no explanation of what Ambrik or who Ambrik was. Bhai Gurdas Ji in their 10th Var, the 4th Paudi of their 10th Var, they write a full Var or full Paudi of who Raja Ambrik was. Ambrik Ambriq Bhagat Moy Varta Rat Pai Durbasha Aya. They say Riki Durbasha was wanting to have irka against Ambriq because he used to do seva of sadhus. He wanted to give him a sharaf, so he set him up, and he had to go do a shnan. He had to break his vart, do something, and then he went to give him a sharaf. Akal Purkha Krishna's Surdarshan Chakkar came and protected him. Then Riki Durbasha understood what the value of a bhagat was, came down, and he had to ask for maafi, and all this entire sakhi happens. But that's only and only explained by Gurdas Diyavara. You won't understand it if you don't go into, if you just say, I'll read Gurbani and I'll be able to understand it. We're going to have to go somewhere else to understand that Gurbani Bangadi anyways. Right? When it comes in Gurbani, Dua par Krishna Murar, Kans karti kataharat ki Ugra San ko Raj. Who is Ugra San? Who is Kans? You have to go somewhere, you have to learn this anyway in order to understand what that Bani is saying. So all of that is written inside of by Gurdas Diyavara. Right? For those bhagats, everybody that's mentioned inside of Gurbani. So that's why they mention this. By Mani Singh, they take these historical records and they further expand on it. They write something called Sikhan di Bhagat Mala. So just like Bhai Gurdas ji took all the words or the names that were mentioned in Gurbani and they explained them, Bhai Gurdas ji mentioned names as well of certain Gursikhs. Then what Bhai Mani Singh ji did, they took the name of those Gursikhs and they wrote their entire Jeevanis. So all of the Gursikhs during the time of Guru Sahibs, from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Arjan Dev Ji tak, they wrote all of their historical context in that Granth called Sikhan di Bhagat Mala. These are the main few. There's 40 Varan total of Bhai Gurdas ji. Then outside of that, there's their Kabit Savaiya. So now we're just going down the timeline. We started off with Bhai Balaji Janam Sakhi, we spoke about Pratan Janam Sakhi, us to baad Meherbandi Janam Sakhi, us to baad aayi apne Bhai Mani Singh ji Janam Sakhi, Bhai Gurdas ji ne Varan Dasam Granth, Sri Dasam Granth Sahib. How did it come to be? I'm going to give you a little bit of a historical background. Tu Kumatar, just because we're just touching on everything so you build a structure of it. Sri Dasam Granth, in 1778, Mata Sundari ji, they appointed Bhai Mani Singh ji to be the head Granthi at Amritsar. Their main task was to go out and do prachar and make sure that the prachar of Sikhi from that Darbar Sahib is spreading out everywhere. As they're doing this, they get the Bakshisham from Mata ji saying that they've done a great job, they're doing great. While they're doing this seva, they started collecting different texts as well, and they started building a library. Inside of this library, they started collecting all of the writings of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, which were just in separate pothiyan and separate scripts, and they're all in different areas. So they gathered all of that. They also wrote a fourth bead of Guru Granth Sahib Ji. Remember, there was no printing presses, there were not that many sroops then. So they wrote the fourth sroop of Bani, but instead of writing it in a complete form, they wrote it as Pothi Sahibs. So what they did was they took all of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani and they wrote it in one, just for their research or their way of looking at it. So all of Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Bani is in one spot, and Guru Angad Dev Ji's and different Bhagats in separate. So the Panth said that you shouldn't have separated. There's a long story behind that I'm not going to go into. But all of the Bani that they collected of Guru Gobind Singh Ji's Bani, that was called Dasme Pacha Ka Granth. And they compiled it into one. Long story, in 1794, Bhai Mani Singh became Shaheed. That Granth is still there. Now the Sikhs at Amritsar, they're wondering that what should we do with this Granth? We don't know much about it. We can't read the languages it's written in. So they sent it to a place called Sikhandi Kanchi, which was Damdama Sahib, also known as where the Taksal was, where the Vidwans were. So when they sent the Dasambani to Damdama Sahib, they started having these divans where all the Vidwans of far and out, they would come together and they would do charcha upon it. They would talk about it, they would discuss it, they would take parts, they would research it, they would come back and they would debate on these things. A long time went by. And as they're discussing it, somebody would say, you know what, we should keep it together. Somebody else would say, no, we should separate it and we should just keep it back into the separate bhutiyan that it was. Another person would say, why don't we do this? We split it into three different things. We take all of the Bani that is like praise, like Akal Ustat and Bani like that, and then we put that together, Jab Sahib, Akal Ustat, and in another Poti, we put all of the Jangi Baniya, right? All the historical context, such as like we have Ram Avatar, Krishna Avatar, and then on the other side, let's put on like the Charitar, the Hakaita, and all of this kind of stuff. Charitra Upakyan, we put that on one side. Like, how should we do it? Nobody's being able to agree upon anything. As they're discussing this, there's somebody by the name of Bhai Mehtab Singh. You've heard this Sakhi before. Bhai Mehtab Singh is on their way to Amritsar because at that time Massa Rangad had taken over Darbar Sahib. When he took over, he started having alcohol and dancers dance inside of Darbar Sahib. So he was on the way to go take off his head. By Mehtab Singh, on the way they drop by Damdama Sahib and they see that this entire conflict is happening. While this conflict is happening, he says this. He said, why don't we leave it to this? I'm laying down my life for my Guru. My Guru will work through me. If I go and I become Shaheed, then you can split the Granth if my body becomes torn into bits. But if I come back in one piece, then what you have to do, you'll keep the Granth together, is one bit. The Sangat and the Vidwans, they all accepted. They said, if you go do this. We'll believe you. He went, him and Sukha Singh, they played soccer with Masa Rangar's head all the way back. And then when they brought it back, and this Mehtab Singh said that I came back in one piece, then everybody respected him. They put a sropa around his head and they said that we're going to keep this Granth together. We're going to keep it into one piece. And then what happened after that, because that was by Mani Singh Ji's bead of Dasam Guru Ka Granth, or Dasam Granth. Then Sukha Singh's bead, who is the head, not the same Sukha Singh that went with Mehtab Singh. This is a different Sukha Singh, who is the head Granthi of Zur Sahib. He took that and he wrote another bead. Inside of this bead, he added Barnis like Bhagavati Stotar and other things like that as well. So they were all with the Sarlekh of Badshai Dasmi. So this is how Sri Dasam Granth came to Kwal. This is a long story. We can go expand on it further and further, but I'm just telling you guys, to Kumatar, that this Granth is there, and there's what certain things, where it comes from, and how it came together to be. Just so you have an answer if somebody asks you. Next Granth, Sri Sarblo Granth. This Granth used to be known as Mangal Charan as well. Now, I've went around and I've asked many Vidvans. I've asked many Mahampurkhs and scholars about Sarblo Granth, where it came from and how did it come to be. There's different stories, varies slightly, but overall I'm just going to give you some perspectives on it. So inside of Sri Sarblo Granth, there's two different, I guess, ways of writing, you can say, right? One is just praise of the Khalsa Mehma. It's just all the shabas that we read, Khalsa mero roop hai, Khalse mein ho karo inwas, Khalsa meri jaan ki jaan, Khalsa mero pind Puran. That's all from Sarblo Granth. Even these lines, Singh Ajit Jujar, Fateh Singh, Zorawar Singh, Parampriya, Pancham Khalas Sadgur Pura, Jin E, Pant Sabd Prakate. These lines are inside of Sri Sarblo Granth. Then the other side, there is something called Brijnath's War. There's about many adhyayas that are just explaining. There was Bhimnath, then his wife, and then Brijnath declared war upon the day of day, and this happened. And all of this war is happening and things are happening, and it's talking about the Mehma of the steel, it's talking about the Mehma of Shastra. It fills you with a birras. I've asked Vidvans about it, and they said that it's a bridge between Ad and Dasam Bani. Because when you read Ad, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Sache Paatshah Zibani, it's Shantmai, it's Adhyatmak. It's something that is completely outside of the world, outside of this world, yet inside of Tum Sukham Hua Sthul. And Dasam Bani is the practical. And sometimes, a lot of times, when a student is studying these two, they'll find that why are these two things so different from each other? Sri Sarblo Granth is a Granth. In Sarblo Granth it says that Guru Granth Sahib Ji is Guru. Right? That's where it's also mentioned, where the first question that we brought up. Then in Sarblo Granth, it mentions these things about these wars, and the Mahampurkhs that I was speaking to, they mentioned that this is a metaphor to your mo fighting your Atma. And it's bringing the Birras that's in Dasam Bani, connecting it to the Adi Granth. In Sarblo Granth, there is a full adhyay that speaks about practical, something physical, and connecting it to Akalus, connecting it back to Jap Sahib, connecting it to back to Apne Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani. It starts off saying, the sun is speaking. The sun is saying, Ha main Suraj haan, I am the sun. But it's not my light that's shining, it's Akal Purkh's light that's shining. Sache Pacha, only because of your kirpa am I the sun. I'm the sun, but only with your kirpa. Then they go to a rock. They say, yes, I'm a rock, but only with your kirpa I'm a rock. It's only you that's behind it all. Yes, I'm a leaf, but it's only you. Only with your kirpa I'm a leaf. Yes, I'm water, I'm the ocean, but only with your kirpa I'm the water. All of these things are mentioned, and it's a full adai mentioning all these tiny, tiny things. So it all goes back to the Adhyatmak Pak, is building that bridge between the two. Now there's a Sakhi of how this Granth came to be. How did we get our hands on it? Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha, before their physical body of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha, they were in the form of Dush Daman in Hemkund Sahib. Mentioned also in Vichitar Natak. Vichitar Natak is in Guru Granth Sahib Ji, in case anyone doesn't know. Dasam Granth. What did I say? Oh, I said, yeah, sorry, Sri Dasam Granth. When Guru Gobind Singh Ji in the form of Dush Daman, they write things and they say that when I was there before that, I had a previous one as well. I was in the Raja Shri Ashtapuja and different forms that they say they were in as well. And they say I was at the Tarti of Nanded, where Hazur Sahib is. There, I met a sadhu whose name was Naunand Sadhu. Naunand, that's where the name Nanded comes from. Naunand to Nanded. And there, I took my Granth, and I took my Bhatte, and I took my Teers, I took a few other weapons, Shastras, and I gave it to Naunand. And I said, I'll come back in my 10th form, and I'll take it from you. So what he did, he left them there. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in the form of Kalgitar Pacha, they went, and there's a Gurdwara Hazur Sahib called Nagina Gad Gurdwara. You can go there today. And Guru Sahib took a tir, and they shot an arrow, and it went and it landed where the Nishan Sahib at Hazur Sahib is. So they built a Nishan Sahib after where that tir landed. They dug up there, and they found all of these things. They found the Shastras, they found the Granth, they found many other things, utensils and things like that. And Kalgidhar Pacha there at the Nandir Didati Hazur Sahib, they said that these were my things in that form. They took that Granth, right, and that Granth was Sarblo Granth. And then after they added these Panktiyan, Khalsa Mera Rupa, Khalsa Mein Hu Karo Nivas, all of these were put in afterwards by Kalgidhar Pacha. Hanji.
So is it stated as Pachai Dasmi or?
Yeah, so at in Sarblo Granth it states Pachai Dasmi. It has the Sarlek, Pachai Dasmi. So that's Sarblo Granth. Just in a two-kumatar form. More questions we can ask, go into afterwards. Maybe we can even pull it out on a PDF. We can look through some things. There's a Pumaka. You can get a tika of Sri Sarblo Granth done by Baba Santa Singh. And you can get that you can get it from like stores and stuff. If any of you want to know, like I can get you a PDF of it as well. I have this the tika at my house as well. Then there's Sausaki. Now a few of you might have heard of this. Anybody has heard of this Granth or anybody has not? Anji? Have? Right. So Sausaki, there's a story behind this as well. Right. So I'm just briefly going through it. Baba Ram Kaur Ji. He is the grandson of Baba Buddha Ji, Brahmgyani Baba Buddha Ji. And when he took Amrit, his name changed to Baba Gurbakh Singh Ji. Baba Ram Kaur Ji is just to highlight the praise of Baba Ram Kaur Ji, what type of sadhu and type of Brahmgyani they were. One time, Kalgidhar Pacha, while they're young, they asked Mata Gujari Ji, say, Mata Ji, is there any Brahmgyanis today? Is there any sadhus in that way? And Mata Gujari said, there is. There's Baba Ram Kaur Ji. And then Guru Gobind Singh Ji Sache Pacha, they say that I want to go and do seva of this Brahmgyani then. I want to go do puja. Puja is the word that they use. I want to go do puja of the sadhu. Baba Ram Kaur Ji was very well respected and well versed in a lot of vidya. So what happened? is Kalgitar Pacha sat down with them, Baba Gurbakh Singh, and they shared 500 stories about Ityas, about history, about Guru Sahibs. And what happened is those 500 stories that were shared, he got somebody named Lakhari Sahib Singh to write all of these down. All of the 500 stories that were shared by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, Lakhari Sahib Singh wrote down. And what happened is 400 of those stories were lost. So that entire Granth was called Panso Sakhi, just because they had Panso Sakhiyan. When 400 of them were lost, then we were left with 100. That became known as Sausakhi. Now there's two main different theories about how we lost them. One is in the Vaddakalukara. In the larger genocide, when the Singhs had to go into the jungles and libraries were burnt and houses were burnt down, they could only carry what was on their back. Right? It was maybe a kappada, maybe their horse saddle, that was about it. During those, some say that during those, that's when it was lost. The other theory is because Khan Singh Nabba, the person who wrote Mahan Kosh, which is another Granth we'll be talking about, and Kavi Santokh Singh, they have seen Panso Sakhi and Sausakhi. Kavi Santokh Singh, when they write Surya Prakash, they make the Sausakhi and the Panso Sakhi, they make it their Adar. They base Surya Prakash Granth off of Panso Sakhi and they expand on it. So that's where Kavi Santokh Singh is getting some of their history from. We'll speak about them afterwards, but just explaining about Sausakhi. So in Sausakhi, there's Pavik Bachchan as well. I just want to share these two panktiyan from Sausakhi. It says, Tabi ek khalsa pargat hove, kila banawe harmandar ko aan, raj chalsi kandika, randika. Randi means widow. Indira Gandhi was a widow, and the Khalsa made Harmandir Sahib a fortress in 1984. This was mentioned in Sausakhi. I'm not going to tell you what to believe and what not to believe. I'm just going to state things as it is. And where's my phone? There's another one that I want to read to you guys from Sausakhi itself. And it's saying that here in these two lines that the pious place of Harmandir Sahib will be turned into a fortress when a widow comes and attacks. And there's another thing that's written in Sausakhi, which I'm going to read to you guys right here. It says, 2.5 lakh Khalsa hove shaheed, 70 lakh Hindu mar jave, tabi Roos Cheen Hind moh chad aave, घोर युद्ध मच करे 70 करोड़ से 17 करोड़ बच जावे, दिल्ली तख्त पे बह जावे गुरु की फौज, तबे सबे अमृत पान करें. So this is from Sausakhi as well. There's bits and pieces, like some things, some Vidwans say that they don't match up, and things other Vidwans say that they do match up. So keep in mind that there's a little bit of going, but certain bits and pieces that they do link up, right? And a lot of things have happened in Sausakhi. That's the only thing that I'll tell you. Some things that are written in Sausakhi, they have happened, and what I just read to you, that hasn't happened yet. So let me explain that to you. They said there'll be a time when 2.5 lakh Khalsa, they become Shaheed. When 2.5 lakh Khalsa become Shaheed, 70 lakh Hindu and 70,000 Hindus when they die. Tabi Roos Cheen Hindu mo chad aave. Then from China, they will come and they will attack that entire area. From the side of China, there will be a massive attack. Then after that, Kor Yudh Machkar. And then a massive bloodshed war will take place. 70 crore se 17 crore bach jave. So out of 70 crore, there will be only 17 crore left. So that's how many people will die. After that, Delhi Takht pe beh jave Guru ki fauj. Then the Khalsa will sit upon Delhi Takht and they will rule from there. Tabe sabe amrit pan kare. Then everybody will take amrit. Then this is written in Sausakhi as well. And then it goes into more of it, but I don't want to spend too much time on it. Just tuk matar. We can sit down and go through it after if anybody has more questions about it. Sausakhi is also one of our historical Granths. Bhai Nandlal Ji diyan Ghazlan. Bhai Nandlal Ji diyan Ghazlan. Bhai Nandlal Ji was a Hindu who was a poet in the Darbar of Aurangzeb. Aurangzeb said that how can such a great poet be a Hindu? He has to become Muslim. Long story short, he said that you have to become a Muslim. Bhai Nandalalji says no. He runs away, trying to save his life. So he goes to the Sharan of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. He hears that he's the one that can give him this sanctuary. So he left Agra. On the way to Anandpur Sahib, he starts writing phrases of Guru Gobind Singh Ji. So phrases like Deen Duniya Dar Kamande Ampuri Raksarma Har Do Alam Ki Mate Yaktar Mue Yarma Maan Me Arem Tabe Gamze Me Gyan Tu Yak Negahi Zam Fizaish Bas Bavad Darkar Ma Gahi Sufi Gahi Zaid. All of these phrases talking about the Shakti, the power of Akal Purkh, of who is Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, how he controls the world. Right? Gahe Kalandar Meshe Vad Rang Hai Mukhtalaf Dar Bute Ayarma, saying that only the Kimate Ashok Danat, that only the Ashiks will understand. So all of this bandagi, the praise he's writing of Kalgitar Pacha, when he gets there, he does like the bandagi in front of Kalgitar Pacha, and Kalgitar Pacha grabs it. He said, when they read it, they say that this is not bandagi nama, this is zindagi nama. This will teach you not how to do bandagi, this will teach you how to live your life as well. So it was called Zindagi Nama as well. That was the name Guru Gobind Singh Ji gave it. So that's where Panjanjalji's Ghazlan come from. They're written in Persian originally because Gurbani, Lippi, that was not their main language they wrote in. They spoke and wrote, and they wrote their poetry in Persian. Just to put a number on our head, there's about 60 Ghazla of Bhai Nandalalji. Some say that there's 62 just because they take one vara and say no, it's actually two vara or two ghazla, it's not one. Things like that, but to put a structure into your head, there's about 60 ghazla. Then there's Sri Guru Sobha Granth. Sri Guru Sobha Granth is written by Kavi Senapati Ji. Kavi Senapati Ji is one of the kavis of the Bhavanja kavis of Kalgitar Pacha's Darbar. 52 poets. Kavi Senapati Ji was the Kavi who used to write about war. He used to write about biras. He used to write about war tactics. Senapati, right? Senapati just means general as well. So in Sri Guru Sobha Granth, it's written the praise of the Khalsa and Guru Sahib. What tactics the Khalsa used to use. How did they go into battle? How were they so victorious? How great was Guru Sahib? How righteous was Guru Sahib? It's all praising Guru Sahib in different ways. Guru Sahib was like this. They were righteous in this way. They used to take care of their shastras in this way. This is how great they were to their soldiers. All of these things, and it builds you with biras as well. The greatness of the Guru. How swiftly and how greatly how elegantly they used to fight in battle and things like that. It's beautiful. And even this Granth, today you can get it in English. If you guys want it's not the original, but it's still, you can get the essence out of it just by reading the Punjabi. Reading the English out of it. Then there's Gur Vilas Padshahi Shemi and Gur Vilas Padshahi Dasmi. These are both written by Mani Singh. Inside of this includes the Jeevani and the history of Guru Har Gobind Sahib Sache Pacha and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj. Bachittar Natak, it was written by Guru Gobind Singh Ji, where they speak about, it's like an autobiography in Dasam Granth that speaks about their own life. But that's only up until the point they were writing it. Bhai Mani Singh Ji goes from the point that they were finished writing and goes further past that, right? And then also they write about all the way from the beginning as well. So Bhai Mani Singh, there's a story behind it when Bhai Mani Singh Ji shared all of this history at Nankana Sahib with a person named Bhai Bhagat Singh. And when all of this history was shared, then they recorded it, and that became Guru Vilas Padshahi Shemi and Dasmi. Mahan Kosh says that the Padshahi Dasmi was completed in 1848. So Kansang Napa, that's just a reference for a date to put into here. This is all before the 19th century. Now, this is a very important Granth. Very important. This is Prachin Panth Prakash. This is written by Ratan Singh Pangu. Ratan Singh Pangu is the grandson of Bhai Mehtab Singh, the person we just spoke about that they cut off the head of Masarangar when they're trying to compile Dasambani. The grandson of Shaheed Jathedar Mehtab Singh is Ratan Singh Pangu, the son of Jai. So Jai Singh was 1 year old when Mehtab Singh got Shaheed, and what they did was they cut his throat and they thought he was dead. But he healed from the wound, and he lived on, and he grew up and had a family, and Jai Singh later on became Shaheed, but their son's name was Ratan Singh Pangu. So all of this history that we read about by Taru Singh was shaheed alongside by Matab Singh. So it's part of their family. They were living it. It was them. It wasn't like, I'll just walk into this place and look at people and be, let me write about them now. No, they were living it. It was in their bloodline. It was happening around them at that time. So how it goes is they knew all of this history. There was somebody named Captain Murray from England, and his job was to go and find the history and different references of Sikh history. Who are they? What do they believe in? And stuff like that. So they could compile it into a text and take it back to a library in England and just keep it there for their own work. So he went around, long story short, he met with a bunch of people and he compiled text. And he happened to one day meet Ratan Singh. And when they met together, he said, this is the task, this is my duty, this is why I'm here in this land. Ratan Singh says, let me see that Granth. When he sees this Granth, he sees that all of the stuff that's written in this Granth is all false. It's written, nothing is mentioned about Adhyatmak, nothing is mentioned that we do Kirtan of Guru Sahib to get rid of our Harman, to go meet Akal Purkh. Nothing is mentioned of the stories of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, of Guru Sahib and the Gursikhs and what was happening around at that time. It was all saying that they were rebels, they're false, they're all like this, that they go against the system, that they're killers, they're savages, things like that, because Captain Murray went to the wrong people to ask. So Ratan Singh says, let me tell you my side of the story. As a Sikh, let me tell you the Sikh story. So they sit down every day, and Ratan Singh would share from the beginning. That's why in Panth Prakash, at the very, very first part of it, it shares a little bit of the history of Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, very briefly. And then it starts from Baba Banda Singh and it goes forward and that's where it goes into the depths of the history of Baba Banda Singh. So all the movies or the Instagram posts and the Sakhiyan and the kids' stories and the bedtime stories that we read, they're all coming from this Granth, the root where it has all the details in it. Prachin Panth Prakash, written by Ratan Singh Pangu. So we used to share all of these stories, and then he would go and record it as well. When they recorded it into a text, then that is the text that Captain Murray took back to England, and that was completed in 1866, still before the turn of the 19th century. But once that was it wasn't made public. It was published to all of the other Gursikhs in 1898 by that year, just to put a date on it. So that's Prachin Panth Prakash. At Ratan Singh, there's another Granth we're going to speak about right after Guru Pratap Surya Granth, which is called Naveen Panth Prakash. That's written by Gyani Gyan Singh. We'll explain that after. But Ratan Singh's Pangu main purpose of writing that Granth was just to get the history there. He was not that well versed in poetry. So a lot of the Shanda Bandi, it's okay if it's one syllable off or whatever. It's because the history was that was his main purpose. So he just wrote it as it was. But Gyani Gyan Singh took it and he did more of his research, added more into it, and what he did was he made it poetically correct, according to him. And that's where Naveen Panth Prakash is. That comes later, we'll talk about that. But in between there, after, there was something that was written called the Guru Pratap Surya Granth. Anybody here does not know what Surya Prakash is? You don't know? Okay, so I'll just explain it. I don't know how I explain it, but so when you go to the Gurdwara in the evening, and there's two guys sitting on stage, right? One guy's on the left, one guy's on the right. The person on the right has a pothi in front of him, and he reads, "Epi janamya bans hamare," and the person on the left says, "Gothe Guru Ramdas ji de rishtedaran ke sadi kokko vich ki jampya." The other person says, "Laaj gwahi sar prakare se sari parvar di laaj tusi gwa chhadi." That when that katha is happening, that's Surya Prakash katha. When it's history. Hanji? So that's just saying that I'm done speaking, read the next line. So that's Surya Prakash katha. The Granth is called Guru Pratap Surya Granth or Surya Prakash in another form, which is a Granth that contains majority of the details of history. It's one of our main historical Granths and references today. Very important we know this. Why? Because when somebody speaks about history and somebody can say this happens, this doesn't happen, we should be able to go to the reference of this Granth and then see where this Granth is coming from to be able to reference our history. A lot of things that are spoken about in this Granth. So Surya Prakash is a short form for who is the writer is Kavi Santokh Singh. Kavi Santokh Singh's dad is Bhai Deva Singh. Just speaking about who Kavi Santokh Singh was. His name was Bhai Deva Singh, who is from Ambala. He learned from Sant Karam Singh Nirmale, meaning he learned Vedant, he learned Gurbani Sikhya, he learned everything. He was a Vidwan himself, Bhai Deva Singh. And in his pursuits of research and history, he ended up in Amritsar. Amritsar is where Kavi Santokh Singh was born in 1845. I've been to the Pind where Kavi Santokh Singh was born. There's a few friends of mine, Gursikhs, that are trying to develop that Gurdwara, that Pind, into a place where people can actually regularly go, because just because they were Chudamani, they were low caste, people even today, they don't really recognize him as much, but he is one of the most vital people in our history that has brought that history forward to us, and we can share these bedtime stories with our kids today, all because of Kavi Santokh Singh's writing and their research and their work. So Kavi Santokh Singh, born in 1845, he started learning Vidya from Gyani Sant Singh. Long story short, Nanak Prakash was completed in 1880. Nanak Prakash is the very first pothi of Guru Pratap Surya Granth. All the writings that are contained of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, all the history of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, that Granth is called specifically Nanak Prakash. All of the other Granths, everything put together, including Guru Nanak Dev Ji up to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, is called Guru Pratap Surya Granth. There's 14 different adhyayas, 14 different chapters about it, inside of it. So in 1880, Nanak Prakash was completed. Their job, they used to work under Maharaja Karam Singh from Patiala. And they were such a great writer that by Uday Singh from Kathal, they took them and they said, I need you to work with me. So they requested Maharaja. They said, can we take this writer of yours? And when they were with Bhai Uday Singh, that's when in 1886 they wrote many other Granths as well, meaning trying to say that look at what a great Vidwan they were. They wrote the Tika of Japji Sahib called Garbganjani. And they did Alatha of many other Granths as well, such as Ramayana and other Granths as well. So when they started doing research into Guru in the Sikh history, and they started taking Guru Sahib's Ityas and putting it together, Guru Pratap Suraj Granth, the complete of all Guru Sahiban, was finished by 1900. So when that was completed, they took that Granth and it started doing parchar of what history was. People started looking into it, and later on they started doing katha of it as well. But how did Guru Pratap Surya Granth, where did Kavi Santokh Singh get his stuff from? Historians write that he had seen the Panch Sakhi and the Sau Sakhi. And what Kavi Santokh Singh used to do, in some pardas, they say that Kavi Santokh Singh used to sit there and go into samadhi. And all of this history and abhyas that he's done, he just used to say it, he just used to recite it. This is such a great Kavi. The way that he's poetically written things, no other Kavi even till today has been able to do such a great job. He recites it, and he has about 7 or 8 different writers that Maharaja Patiala gave him. That he took these writers and they are all writing it down. And so he's reciting it, they're writing it down, he's doing his abhyas, and he's gone to Baba Gurbakh Singh. So that pothi that was Sau Sakhi and Panch Sau Sakhi from Baba Gurbakh Singh, they had taken that, they had read it, they had darshan of it, and then it was lost, and then took that, and they expanded on their research. They actually went to every single place that Guru Nanak Dev Ji and Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj went to. They went all the way down south, they went up to the mountains, they went west, they went everywhere. They gathered all of the research, they went and talked to people, they looked at the places, they looked at the physical hand of Guru Nanak Dev Ji at Panja Sahib, and they put the Ityas together from all historical references. So it's a great work that they've done. That's Guru Pratap Suraj Granth. Any questions upon that? Next, I want to talk about Prachin Panth Prakash, which I just mentioned as well. Gyani Gyan Singh, they completed it in, they wrote it in 1928. Then it was published in 1937. So now we're getting closer. Now the Angrez and everybody sare gore firde hai. Right? So Prachin Panth Prakash, it was not an ideal poetic form. Therefore, that purpose, he wrote it again and called it Naveen Panth Prakash, and he included more of his research and the poetry of Kavi Nihal Singh Lahore. Panth Prakash, remember, it contains mainly Sikh Khandi history. So Baba Banda Singh up until, other Gursikhs like Bhai Taru Singh, Mehtab Singh, all of these other Gursikhs that we speak about. Bhai Mani Singh, Vagara, they're all mentioned in Panth Prakash. But Guru Sahiban da Ityas, from Guru Nanak Dev Ji to Guru Gobind Singh Ji, that the main source for that is Guru Pratap Suraj Granth. Then there's another Granth called Bansavali Nama, Kesar Singh Chibbar. This was written before, but I just included it here. Who is Kesar Singh Chibbar? He's 2 generations down from the Shaheed Bhai Mati Das Ji. So remember, these guys were not just like, oh, I just got into Sikhi. No, these guys, their grandfathers, grandparents, everybody was living. They were well known. They grew up knowing the history, playing in the laps of their grandfathers, everything. So they are living this. That's why all of these historical references actually make sense, because they were living. It's not just something that was made up. Anji?
All of these are trustable resources.
Yes, meaning that's what I'm trying to say. They're trustable resources. That obviously Bhai Mati Das Ji could not have written their own Shahidi. Right? It's like, by the way, let me just finish this. And now I become Shaheed. All right, go. There's no possibility. So somebody else had to write it. That's why the descendants have written it in that way. So Bansavali Nama, it literally just means like a family tree. So the family tree of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, Guru Angad Dev Ji, leading to the Gursikhs and other people as well. And even in Bansavali Nama, it has futuristic family trees as well. It's mentioned there. Then we go to Tawarik Guru Khalsa. Tawarik Guru Khalsa is written by Gyani Gyan Singh. Gyani Gyan Singh, he took the history of which was in poetic form in different languages, which is hard to read, and he wrote it in Tawarik, which is simple, easy to read, like a novel form. So you can just pick it up and be like, okay, I'm reading history, rather than having to become a great Vidwan, learning poetry, and then being able to do Katha of a Granth, and then being able to read it. But the ras is only in Guru Pratap Suraj Granth, right? Because it's poetic. Now, there's so many Granths which we haven't touched on. Right? There's so many Granths which we haven't gone to. Sikhandi Bhagatamala, we didn't really go into. Other Granths which we haven't really gone to. We haven't gone into the Ratname by Desa Singh, by Chaupa Singh, right? By Daya Singh's Ratname. The Ratname the bahut hai. But all of these historical accounts, my point of saying all of this, if we don't know anything about these histories, at least let's just learn their names. So we know that these Granths are available there, where it comes from. Somebody comes up to us and says, forget history. The importance of history is this: the history shows you the value of your Guru. History shows you what your Guru makes you fall in love with Guru Sahib. History is practical living Sikhi. What can you say to that 6-year-old child who's saying, Minu cheez do, minu hune ye kar do? Right? His entire Sikhi is based off of Sakhiyan. Sun Sakhi man jap pyar. And keep in mind, history is not something that happened in the past. Bhai Veer Singh writes this. History is something that's happening right now. It's written inside of your heart. Bhai Veer Singh says, when I close my eyes and when I write history, when I read history, it didn't happen then, it's happening right now. There's a Mampur, which you all know in Toronto, which I spent time with as well, who sits there and says, Tan Tan Guru Arjan Dev Ji Sache Pacha, Hune Tati Tavite Bethe Ne, Hune Bulda Bulda Reta Ona Sis Vich Perya. Right now it's happening. I used to sit there with them when I was young. They'd be like, look, it's right there. I'd be like, where? They'd be like, right there. And I'd be like, Babaji, where? He's like, right there. Right? And I was young then. But all of these things, these Mampurs that are teaching, these Vidwans that are teaching, the meaning behind it. That look, history is happening right now. And watch, maybe in 100, 200 years from now, there might be somebody who writes a Granth, be like, this many years ago, these Gursikhs got together at this campsite, they did this SYF camp. And there was somebody named just Jot Singh, there's somebody named Manveer Singh, there's some other people, and this is the Parsang up by Manveer Singh, Seattle wale, right? And then, that Prasang is going to be written of the Vartalap of maybe some history of these Gursikhs, if it's worth mentioning. So keep in mind what's happening now. Don't forget your history. Right now, you're living history. That is the last thing that I'm trying to tell you. The history is happening now. You are living history. You are living Sikh Itihas. And if you try to move away from your roots, move away from your history, move away from what's the point of all of this, then you're not connecting back. You're not writing that. You're not part of that history anymore. If you want to connect it back to that Bansavali Nama, back to that lineage of coming all the way from Bhai Balaji's Janam Sakhi, all the way from those previous texts, it's all coming down as one thing historically, so you can connect to Guru Granth Sahib Ji Sache Pacha in that complete form. That's what history is. Maybe, even today, like people will look up to you guys, younger kids will look up to you and they say, Paji does this, Panji did this. When Paji was younger, they used to do this. We read books of Mahapurkhs. Where Sant Baba Harman Singh did this, Sant Baba Atar Singh did this. And we get inspired by that. That's a form of history as well. I only touched on the main Granths that were before the Angrez came. Once the Angrez came, then there was just so many literature was just left, right, and center. But let's connect back to our roots. That's my main purpose of saying this. So if there's any questions, probably got about 2 minutes left. I don't know how much time I have left. Any questions by anybody? If not, if you guys have any detailed questions, what you can do, we can come sit together. What we can do is we can go into the text. I can even pull out the PDF if you want to look into something. And if there's something that I don't know, which is a lot of things, which I don't know, then we can go to the Vidwans that are also here in this camp. We can go ask them. They'll just throw out stuff. They'll be like, yeah, in this page, and this on the fourth line, in the fourth word, it says this letter. Like things like that. Okay, I exaggerated, but you know what I mean. Like they have these things inside and out, right? So let's take this time and let's ask them. These Gursikhs that are there, like Gyani Gurdev Singh is there. Both of his sisters were married to Sant Gyani Guru Bachan Singh Ji. He's walking history right there, right? So go ask him about his interactions with Sant Baba Guru Bachan Singh, right? You can get more things that you would get in a book. So let's take these things wisely. So inniya bintiyan purban karniya. I've made many mistakes while talking. Any mistakes that I made historically or while speaking, please forgive me. Samsari Sangat Gaddivar Ji ki Fateh Bilao Ji. Vaheguru Ji ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji ki Fateh.